My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. Next up at UFC 260, we have the rebooked absolute banger between William Knight and Alonzo Menifield. We broke this fight down. William Knight is Nick Newell's friend. Let's check out the breakdown we just did a few weeks ago. Next up at UFC Fight Night, Rosenstruck versus Kane, we have an absolute banger at light heavyweight with William Knight versus Alonzo Menifield. Two giant men who are ready to throw. Nick, I'm going to go to you first. You are personal friends with William Knight. You know him in real life. Your fighters train with him. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, so, I'll send my big guys over to help them in Connecticut. We got to stick together and we got to help each other out. And William Knight's a homegrown boy, born and raised in Connecticut, trains out of Connecticut, trains at Thornton MMA. And he's really close with his coach. I think that's important when you fight. I think a good bond. I had a really good bond with my coaches, and it made a big difference in your confidence. When you're in the corner and your coach is talking to you and you truly believe everything they say, it makes a big difference when you fight. And William has this like undying passion and love for his team. I'm not saying Menifield doesn't. I don't know him personally. I've known William for a while, since he was an amateur. I actually, before he ever fought, I commentated a grappling match he did. He's a little new to the game. He's a lot greener than Menifield. If you look on paper, you'll say, okay, Menifield's a more technical boxer. He keeps his hands up. He's got good head movement, things like this. William Knight does things not as well as Menifield, but he is an absolute dog and an absolute savage, and he's a winner. He finds ways to win. Things about him, he looks very muscular. He will never get tired. I will bet if the lines, any line in the world, that he doesn't get tired in a fight. The man is a cardio machine, and it's an anomaly because of how he's built. He never gets tired, and he never gives up. I see him every single fight he's in, except for his last fight, his UFC debut. He controlled it start to finish against an undefeated prospect in Kamer. And he won that fight start to finish and dominated the entire fight. He never gets tired. Now you look at Menifield, who's a better fighter on paper, but he does get tired. He does gas out. Devin Clark really wore him out with his wrestling. And again, on paper, William Knight, not as good of a wrestler as Devin Clark, but if he wants to be on top, he's going to get on top. He'll find a way to get on top. When he fought, I think Jameel Jones, All-American wrestler, William Knight took him down. Ground and pounded him out, made him tap. So it's I think William Knight wins this fight. I think he gets his ass whooped maybe in the beginning of the fight and rallies. So he might lose the first round. He might be losing all the way up until he wins. But William Knight always finds a way to win, and I think that he'll do it again here. I'm trying to figure out a way to put him in my lineup with other more solid locks. I'm just trying to think about how many points he's going to score. I think he's going to win. If I had $100, I'd throw it on him. No doubt in my mind. I just am on the fence about how many points he's going to score, so I might throw him in.
Yeah, he's definitely expensive. $8,200 is a lot of money. Especially, you don't see too often in DraftKings where both people are this expensive. So it's a true pick 'em according to the odds makers in DraftKings. I love your analysis. Obviously, you know him well. You've seen him train. You train fighters who train with him. So, your insight is invaluable here. I agree.
I've seen every fight he's had. I think I've seen every fight he's ever had.
Well, and my thoughts here are, I agree. I think Alonzo Menifield is trouble early, but at the end of the day, I think William Knight has better cardio. You've confirmed that. He definitely has better wrestling and grappling, and those are the two difference makers to me. I think he can weather that first round storm, and then that grappling and that wrestling is just more work and harder to deal with for Alonzo. And I see William Knight winning this either by a late stoppage or winning a decision, because I do think he weathers that storm. If I have $100, we got to go with -110 in either direction. And I would put it on William Knight as well. I think cardio is honestly the second most important thing in a fight behind your actual abilities. So Dan, pro fighter, very long time. What are your thoughts on the cardio aspect here? Do you think it's that big of a differentiator in a fight like this?
You know, I love talking about cardio. No, I mean, I do. It's honestly my only concern in the fight. I mean, I'm picking Menifield in this one. He's lost 2 in a row, but the 2 guys he lost to are freaking good, and they had a lot of experience. And he got put in that position because he went on a run. He was knocking other good guys out in the first round. And all of a sudden, he gets thrown in there with Devin Clark, who I know is on paper not like an elite level, but that guy's athletic, very good wrestling. He trains at Jackson Wink. It's a tough fight for anybody, especially for a guy like Menifield, who's still, fairly new in the game, with 11 fights. And then he fought OSP, another guy who's been around, beating a lot of tough guys. So his last 2 fights he lost. He did get tired, but they were against really, really good guys, and he had to be grappling against Devin Clark a lot in that fight. So I think he's probably working to improve that. I'm hoping he is. But before that, he literally beat Paul Craig. He had really good takedown defense. His takedown defense actually looked really good in a couple fights. Just later in the fight, he just gets tired. He's got so much freaking muscle on him that it's impossible not to. So that is a concern. But in watching William Knight, first of all, he's from Connecticut, so I kind of have to root for him. But the dude is jacked. He's explosive, strong. He threw some hard leg kicks. But he stands a little square. His hands are low. He's a little flat-footed. His chin straight up in the air. And that is not a good recipe against a guy who throws heat that early on in the fight like Menifield. So I wouldn't be surprised if Knight weathered the storm and out-cardioed him, but I'm banking on Menifield having improved his cardio based on the last 2 performances he had. I think he's the better striker, and I think in the first round, if Knight's chin's up in the air, Menifield's going to tag it and put him away.
Are you confident enough to draft him at $8,000, or no, it's too close of a pick 'em?
I'm putting him on my lineup.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right. So, Jacob, on to you. I know you have a lot of thoughts about any men that are in this great a shape. So why don't you break down quickly who you think is going to win?
You alluded to it, Angelo. Look at these guys right here. I'm never going to I know I look good, but I'm never going to the gym again because I know I'll never come close to looking like these guys. It took me 2 hours to even put this graphic together because I kept having to walk away from my computer. It was getting too hot. William Knight is an absolute cannonball. This guy's a cannonball. I watched him. He was in a bad position on his back, literally just lifted the other guy off him and took position. Said, nah, I think I'll take position now. Just an animal. Menifield, an animal. I'm not touching this fight because I want to enjoy this fight, sit back and not care who wins or loses because it's going to be an absolute war. I think William Knight is going to win. If I had $100, I'd put it on him, but I'd like to give $50 to both of them, I think.
Well, more
best analysis of all time. That was great.
At negative 110, both of them, you will surely lose money giving $50 to each. It's actually guaranteed.
No, I want to give it to both of them.
He just wants to give it to them as people.
To them
hey, you guys look so good. Here's $50 each.
Yes. I'm picturing Jacob sitting on a couch and William Knight and Menifield sitting behind him. Don't post that. Don't post that.
The Stark.
Yeah, so if we can get a 10-minute break after this, I'd be appreciative.
Quite the stark contrast between Nick Newell's insightful firsthand knowledge and Jacob Lyne's sinful thoughts and ways with this fight. But either way, this is going to be a ton of fun to watch. We're kind of split down the middle, as are the odds makers and everybody else. Personally, I'm going cardio over power, but this will be a fun one to watch. So let's see what happens. So this was an interesting breakdown. Myself, Nick, Jacob, we went with William Knight because of the cardio that Nick talked about extensively. Dan was on the other side of that coin. But before we go to you, Dan, Nick, I know you've talked to William since his fight's been rebooked. I know you know him well, you know his coach as well. What are your thoughts here? I'm assuming you're still picking him to win, but has anything changed since the rebooking?
William Knight is a maniac. You know, he prides himself on working hard, and he like jokes around and posts things online like, I work so hard, I do this all the time, I could work a full-time job too, I need to be busier, I need all this stuff. He's a maniac, and I love him for it. He's it's funny, he makes me laugh. And I don't even know if he's trying to be funny, but I like him. I do think he wins this fight. Like I said, I'm worried about Menifield early, but you can wear Menifield out, and the longer the fight goes, the more it favors William Knight, who does not get tired at all, ever. Never has, never will. And last time I was on the fence of whether or not I would put him into my lineup. I don't know why. This time I'm definitely putting him in my lineup, and I will bet on him to win.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm going a lot off of you and your personal experiences with him, and you know, your confidence in his cardio. And at light heavyweight, two guys built like this, that throw like this, cardio is everything. Either one of them could put each other's lights out at any second. But if this gets out of the first round and his cardio is as good as we've talked about, I only see William Knight the rest of the fight. So I don't have him in my lineup, but the odds makers have this at absolute dead even across the board. Jacob, I'll go to you. I last time.
COVID,
what did you say?
Menifield tested positive for COVID.
Menifield had COVID. That's why the fight was.
So he could have had a quarantine for 10 days, not train, done his own thing for 10 days without coaches. Like that also could play a factor into the cardio.
Yeah. That's a good point. Nothing good happened on the Menifield side for the rebooking. That's for sure. So Jacob, I'll go to you. I'm hoping you're calm and relaxed and you're not going to get all out of control with sort of the imposing figures on the screen right now. So has anything changed for you? Are you still going William Knight?
Yeah, unfortunately, the only phone call I got after the last breakdown was a phone call from HR, and they told me to stop objectifying and sexualizing these athletes. They are grown, they're grown men, they're trained professionals. So I'm going to take it a step further and show my respect to both Menifield and William Knight, and give one of these athletes one of the highest honors you can achieve. There's all the military ranks. You have the military ranks, and then right there is lock of the week. And William Knight is the lock of the week this week. He has the highest honor you can ever receive besides all the military honors. And William Knight is the lock of the week. I'm taking a step forward. I'm showing my respect. And I honestly think this isn't, just because he's a friend of Nick's and stuff. He's a cannonball, like I said in the last video. And I think he gets it done, whether it's early or late, he gets done. So that's my lock of the week, William Knight.
So it's an interesting lock of the week because he's not an underdog. They're both favorites somehow, but I'll allow it because the odds are even. Dan, you were the lone survivor. You went Menifield last time. What are your thoughts here? Has anything changed?
I'm still out on an island right now. Jacob making Knight his lock of the week, that scares me even more than anything. But that plus the cardio thing, that Knight has good cardio. A little nervous, but no, I'm sticking with Menifield. I think it's all in the same recap. I think he just fought tougher competition, did really, really well, got thrown in there with two very good guys, lost those fights, and I imagine he's improving. From what I saw on tape, his skill set was a little bit better, but again, if he doesn't get the finish early or he hasn't worked on his conditioning, it could get ugly late for him. So not a super confident pick, but I think there's a lot of upside. So I'm sticking with Menifield.
Dan, have you ever been on the right side of lock of the week? Honest question.
Yeah, I think so. Have I? Have I ever gone again?
Yeah,
No.
I
honestly don't listen. I don't think about your lock of the week as much as you do, clearly. So I'm not even sure. You tell me. You probably got to break it down.
This is rough. This has been a rough run for you. I'll tell you that.
We smoked you last 2 weeks ago with the Rojo fight.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, wasn't it like
Bro, who scored the most points out of all the
God,
losers?
right. Okay, I forgot.
I'm going to edit all of this nonsense out.
Lock of the week.
No, you should leave this in, Angelo.
Lock
Yeah.
of the week.
This is a perfect example.
Will always be the ultimate lock of the week.
Right. His
he
lock
did
of
the
the
best
week
out of
got
everyone.
smoked, and then he spent all week long finding numbers that said, oh, well, this guy scored more than this guy, even though he won, and it's just...
Yeah, it was a full moon. That's what it was. I didn't factor that into my pick. So anyway, this is going to be a very fun fight. We have two incredibly hard hitters with incredible speed that have the only intention is to knock each other out and take their heads off. So this is going to be a fun one. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Before you go, check out the description below. In there, we have links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and more importantly, to our DraftKings League. Check out the league, join the league, participate in the contests, and as we get going and as you start winning, we're going to start handing out gift cards and participating and doing things like that. So check those out. Every week, there are drops on every fight card. So make sure you check out this channel and our social media on Saturday before the fights start so that you have our most updated lineups and picks.